Hey everyone, I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. Welcome to the Tamra Wade Show, and I'm excited that I've got some repeat guests here. I've got Jason Smith and Matt DeCesaro. Did I butcher it this time?
No, that's perfect.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about the market right now. So from the mortgage side, they're both with Southeast and are very high up in Southeast, so they've got some great insight that they can share, and they hear a lot of things throughout the day. And so I'll give my feedback from the real estate side where necessary, but I have some questions that have been brought to me by customers as they've been coming into the new home communities, and also agents that are both handling new and resale. So I think there's a lot to be said about kind of the mortgage rates right now and everything, and unemployment and that kind of thing. So I'm going to get started and ask these questions. Either one of you take them as I ask, and we'll go from there. So what's your feeling in regards to the mortgage rates? Do you feel like they're going to drop?
You want me to take that one, Matt?
Sure, knock it out.
I don't see them dropping any more than they already are. I mean, we're at an all-time low, going on for a while, even during the pandemic. One of the things that we kind of have to see right now and deal with is there's a lot of, people losing their jobs and stuff like that. So then you have supply and demand. So that may tinker with our rates a little bit. But at the end of the day, you still look where we were, 19, 20 months ago, we were, 5.25. So right now we're in the low threes, mid threes, depending on program and credit. So they go up a little bit. We're still, still a home run for people to buy homes. And so, I wouldn't let it deter me. And, I'm pointing that out to a lot of people. And then, they kind of sit back and they go, you're right. Because they're all, wanting, low three. But if you have a 3 in front of your interest rate, you're winning.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you doing with people that have been furloughed, they're furloughed, but they have like a start date with their jobs and stuff like that, maybe in the next week or two? Are you guys able to work their loans? Kind of how does that play out?
Yeah, so what we've been doing here is, in fact, I'll tell you what, great news today. We had 2 buyers that had recently been furloughed that we got news today that they were coming out of furlough already. So I thought that was a real bright spot in the market right now, because those were really short furloughs, less than a month. Mm-hmm. And neither of those buyers were expecting to go back to work anytime soon. So we're just updating their employment verifications, making sure they're going back to work full-time, not part-time, same rate of pay, collecting a pay stub, clearing the loan down to everything but that pay stub and updated employment verification, and bringing them to closing. So again, I think a lot of these buyers thought that, as I did, these furloughs were going to last a very long time. And, at least these 2 were quick, which was really promising.
Yeah, I wonder if, with the PPP loans that a lot of these employers had gone in for, some of them missed the first round and then got the second round. And one of the big things with the PPPs is that they have to, bring back, if they've let people go, they have to bring them back. They have to maintain a certain percentage of what their salaries were, based on what it was prior to February 15th, 2020. And so I'm one of those, so I happen to know about all the, more detail of this kind of stuff. So that might help, because, people that were furloughed, now that these employers are getting their PPPs, they're able to start bringing people back, which is a really good thing. And it shows, that the government, the president, and everybody are working with us, and it's working to, I guess, what they wanted it to. So hopefully that's a piece of it. There could be a lot more to that than just the PPPs, but that's one of those things.
One of these was with a smaller company, so that was good to see. The other one was actually with a Fortune 500 company, so it was interesting to see the spectrum of both of these jobs coming back. So anyway, just interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, next question I've got for y'all is, what is a good mortgage rate right now? Like you're saying 3, so like for conventional and FHA, give us some ideas.
Yeah, as far as rates, I mean, conventional is very credit score driven. So, I mean, you can have someone that's, at a 4.5 and you can have someone that's at a 3.25, just depending on their, the LTV and what their credit score is. But I mean, we're still, locking people 3.25, 3.375, pretty consistently. FHA still hovering in the mid threes, maybe, some files are going up to 3.75. So it's definitely different. Before FHA was always, on the lower side of conventional, but due to, the uncertainty in the market right now, it's kind of flipped around. So it's definitely different for us in our conversations that we're having with people, because people in general, kind of know that. And so we're just trying to walk them through and just explain to them, this is just how it is right now. It's given people an opportunity to get into a conventional loan with an actual lower interest rate now, which is always better for the long term for the mortgage insurance dropping off.
Mm-hmm. That is very, very true. Next question I've got is, do you feel like this year is a good year to buy a house?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's an excellent time to buy a house. I mean, frankly, I've been doing this for 20 years. I can't think of a better time to purchase a house. There's a lot of inventory, which is good, especially on the new home side. A lot of inventory. There's some of the highest quality homes I've seen built throughout my career, with so many standard features that you wouldn't have seen appearing in a lot of these homes, 3, 5, 7 years ago. And we're seeing homes being built in areas that we're accustomed to seeing a lot of new home construction, but we're also seeing some beautiful areas of Metro Atlanta that are just now being developed. And a lot of those areas are just, really beautiful areas to live and raise a family. Mm-hmm. And with rates being as low as they are, I can't think of a better time to go out and purchase a home. It's just, market's really robust, and it makes a lot of sense right now.
And one thing to kind of add to that, I think that one of the big things, there's so many builders out there building right now, it's keeping them all competitive. And mm-hmm. So you're getting some really cool incentives, with the closing costs, parts of upgrades, things like that. So I think it's kind of putting everybody on the same playing field, and it's giving the buyer a little bit more stuff to choose from, and it's keeping all the builders to where they're having to be competitive, so they can't, jack theirs up and then the one across the street, be a lot lower and then expect to sell the home. So I think that's kind of what I see across the board. I've got some new construction communities that are all, some of them within a 2 or 3 mile radius of each other, and they're competing with each other. So I kind of see it on the back end, and I think it's actually a great thing for the buyer.
Right. And I think, a lot of the builders, what they're trying to do is make up for maybe what they lost in April, so they're trying to kind of make their second quarter look better than it started out to be. So they're a little bit more flexible than what they've been in the past. And they understand that some of the buyers right now, they've got to buy down the rates in order to qualify. And so they seem a little bit more willing to help out than maybe they would back prior to the whole pandemic and everything like that. So, I think it's, strike while the iron's hot, because I think as the market continues to get better, that the builders will start pulling back. But right now they're trying to make up for some lost time that they, went through in April. Next question for y'all is, do you, hearing from different sources on your side, do you hear of anything of like a possible housing market crash?
Here goes Matt.
Yeah, no, we're not hearing. We're not hearing the word. We're not hearing the word collapse. We're not hearing the word foreclosure. For anybody that went through this cycle back in 08 and 09, that's not a word that's coming up at all. A lot of the, my expertise and Jason's expertise really is on the new home side, although we both participate to a certain degree in resale. And the home builders that we're working with, they would tell you we're not letting our foot off the gas. They're they're thinking this is a blip on the radar. They're building through it responsibly, unlike 08, 09, where they were just zipping along until everything hit. Builders today are building through this cycle in order to be prepared for what they think is going to occur on the other side of this, late summer, early fall, which is high demand, and really our spring and summer buying season happening more in third, fourth quarter this year instead of second and third quarter. So, collapse isn't even in anybody's vocabulary right now. Not that we're hearing.
I'm not hearing that either. I've got builders one that started 9 houses this past Monday. Another 2 or 3 of them that have got 2 or 3 neighborhoods that they had kind of halted back at the beginning of April, that they had under contract, and they're proceeding forward to close on those. So, everything that I'm seeing, I even saw an email from a public builder today, which I watched those very closely, and they're opening up a neighborhood this weekend. So, seems like there's a lot of good activity that's going on out there. So, provided, I think, it all depends on what's going to happen now that the shelter in place is, pretty much been put to rest, how everything plays out over the next month as well with regards to COVID-19 and, people getting sick and that kind of stuff. Hopefully it's, we're on the upside. We're not going to go through anything again. Would you agree with that?
I would. I think the big thing right now, the discussion that I'm hearing more than anything is less and less, and Tamra, you and I've talked about this offline before, is less and less credit score driven, what products are available, those types of things. We're going through the market right now and looking and evaluating where the risk is at. It's all really on the employment side of the game. And that is, what's this buyer do? And, based on what this buyer does, what is the likelihood that this is going to close? And furlough really seems to be, at this point in time, more on the tip of everybody's tongue than collapse. Is this buyer going to reach a point when we get to closing where they're still employed?
Mm-hmm. Right. I agree with that. All right. Next question I've got for you is, people are asking, should I be locking my mortgage rate today if they're under contract on a home?
Well, I'll tell you, our company philosophy, coming from our owner is, lock and don't look back. When we're in an environment like this, because, as an originator, we see rates all the time. And during this COVID, there was low times and there were times the next day where we logged in to check the rates and they were a point higher. So what I'm telling people, if we tell you a rate and you like the house payment with it, don't gamble on, is it going to go down? Just go ahead and pull the trigger, lock it, and don't look back, because don't get caught, one day being selfish, over an eighth of a point, and the next day it's, a quarter or 3/8 of a point higher. So that's just kind of my philosophy. I think, majority of people in our company do, go that way. Because I have been in the situation, a few times where when that rate bumps up, they don't qualify anymore, and so with all the uncertainty, if that rate was to jump up a half or 3/4, that same borrower that was maxed out on their, their approval from the get-go is now all of a sudden can't get approved for the house.
That makes perfect sense. I don't think a lot of people think like that it could affect their qualifying. They're just more thinking of their mortgage payment, and they need to be thinking and talking to their loan officer about those kinds of things. With the balance,
I'd just add to that, at most of these price points anyway, if you look at an eighth higher or lower anyway, the impact to payment is so minuscule that it's just, I think for most people, when you talk them through what the differential is on the payment, generally speaking, they get it and they're more prone to go ahead and lock versus losing the opportunity at the rate they've got in hand. So it seems like a big deal, an eighth on paper, but from a payment perspective, once you really boil it down and explain it to them, there's just such a minuscule difference. It really doesn't wind up making a big difference long term.
That is good information. this is probably more of a question for me, but I'm going to let you from the mortgage side give your input. Will the balance of 2020 be a buyer's market or a seller's market? Just from the mortgage side or anything, do you have any kind of input?
I mean, I would say, just on the loan side, it's, we step into a buyer side because the rates are so low. People are, they get excited when they see these low rates, and I think it kind of shakes some of them that were kind of on the fence whenever we see the rates drop like that. So, we're all professionals in our own area. I think the biggest thing is, if we can get in contact with these people and just point out, hey, here's how it is today, here's how it would be, next year when home prices are constantly going up, who knows where the rate's going to be. I think a lot of those people will pull the trigger. A lot of people kind of are seeing all the people that are relocating to Atlanta right now. I mean, it's ridiculous. My phone rings all day long, and the majority of them are out of state numbers as people trying to relocate to Atlanta. The movie production thing's huge right now, and so we're getting a lot of those. And so all that's going to do is, make there's not going to be enough homes. It's going to cause the builders to go up on their prices. So at the end of the day, a house that you pay, one price for right now, next summer, it might be another $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more. And who knows where the rate's going to be.
Which is a good point. I think, yeah, it's definitely it's an opportunity, I think, for both sides. Because, yeah, the buyers right now are getting great rates. And then the sellers right now, the inventory is so low. So if you've got a home to sell, be it new or resale, you don't have tons of competition. Yesterday, based on the numbers that came out from the MLS, so that's like our listing service, they were saying we're down at 2.8 months worth of inventory. Wow. So anything under 6 months is typically healthy, and we're at 2.8. So that's pretty crazy right now. Based on people that are out there considering purchasing a home, what should they be looking for in their loan officer in these times?
I mentioned this when we were together the last time, and I think that this is critical. Research your loan officer. How long have they been in the business? Where have they worked at geographically? Look for reviews. There's a lot of information out there on reviews. Based on what we're going through right now, if they've been in the business long enough where they've cycled through something like what we're going through today, if they haven't cycled through it, do they have a supporting cast around them that's got that level of experience to support and help guide them through this cycle? And even more importantly than that, where are they working? I mean, where is their leadership team work? All this is available to you as a consumer. Is that leadership team cycled from company to company every 3, 5, or 7 years? Has that company been known by another name, but in years past, because during previous cycles, they needed to change names in order to continue to do business? I mean, again, shameless plug, I'll do it again. I mean, same owner, same leadership team, same philosophy of doing the right thing and dealing with integrity for 28 years. Our company's never been bought, sold, changed its name. That's really, really important right now. And our leadership team, this is the third cycle that we've been through before, and we've successfully and even grown through previous cycles before, like we're growing now. That is just, as a consumer, that is just critical to make sure that you're working with not only the right loan officer, but the right company.
I agree. Jason, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of, loan officer friends in the business that work, some work for, mortgage brokers, some are with banks and things like that. And it's, we'll all get together and have drinks together and chat about what's going on in the marketplace and kind of pick each other's brain. And it's interesting to see how some people are on the same page and some people are completely off. And I think the people that are completely off are the ones trying to go around right now and beat their chest and say, oh, we can still do this, we can still do that. But those are the ones that, if that's your referring partner, that they'll be switching companies soon. because we're going to get caught. And so with Southeast Mortgage, our leadership team, like Matt was saying, has been through all this. And so we don't like to make our decisions based on what everybody else are doing. We want to be in front of the crowd and protect our company so that you as a partner end up doing business with the same company forever. And I think a lot of realtors and stuff appreciate that when they don't see their good loan officer jumping around to different companies because the company starts suffering. So that's one of the biggest things that I like about who we work for, is just how they can, it's almost like they can see things before they happen, and they prepare us, and then we go to you guys and prepare y'all, and then bam, it happens. So that's probably one of those, the strongest things that I like about all my managers, all across the board.
I mean, what's been great about Southeast is that the turnover is not, there's not, so, the people you meet, you're working with, and, you continue to see their growth and their improvement. And, I've only dealt with Southeast for, a few years, and just super impressed. And I know a lot of my agents on my team and within the brokerage are as well. So, I would highly recommend Southeast to anybody, friends, family. I've had my nanny and people close with Southeast just because I trust the company as a whole. So my last question is going to be, how do, there's people out there right now with, even though the shelter in place is, no longer here in Georgia, but we still have social distancing and people that have health issues and stuff like that. How do y'all handle people that do not want to meet in person or want to try to handle the whole process virtually? Do y'all have that available to them?
Absolutely, we do. With technology these days, even before COVID, I don't meet my clients normally until I go to the closing table. And that's one of the reasons why I like to go to the closing, so I can actually shake their hand. Obviously right now we're not allowed to go to closings, per the attorneys and things like that. But 99% of the stuff can be done electronically signed. There's very few documents that have to be actually printed off now. So we can close loans, from from sitting in our office or our home, just because everything's remote, and almost our whole entire company has been working from home for the past, 40 days now. And we are turning over, our largest month in history, working from home. And our owner is like, this is amazing that we're that tight of a group that we can all be in separate areas and still put down, meet our same close times. Our average closing last month was 20. And, it's a lot of companies are fumbling right now. They're pushing their closings out a month because they don't have the manpower to be able to get things closed. And we take pride in being able to, to where our buyers don't really know that we're not in an office together. And it's been seamless.
I kind of chuckle when I'm talking to people who haven't done business with us before. I always say we're a technology company impersonating a mortgage company. We are very, very, we're very, very technologically advanced, and it gives us the ability to go ahead and do a lot of things electronically that our competition isn't able to do. So really, really impressed with how we've implemented cutting edge technology to make the process a lot easier for buyers, sellers, and business partners.
That is awesome. And so it really helps us as realtors work with our clients when you're doing that. And then we're, trying to help and make it as easy as possible as well. I think it's only, this whole thing, as difficult as it's been, it's only made us within the real estate industry and the mortgage industry stronger at what we do. And, I think there's some in it that, like we were saying, probably won't be in it, or will be switching companies. And then there's those that, they've been through this, or they're strong and they've taken this as an opportunity to grow and be better for their clients, and their customers. So, hats off to you guys and having a great month and everything. So hopefully we can all continue. And thank you for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having us, Tamra.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us, Tamara. Glad to join you. Thank you.